Flying boats have never been a priority for air forces, but many nations still designed and produced aircraft capable of landing on water. The Soviet Union was no exception. Its engineers had made a few successful models, including some that served with the Navy. However, the Second World War showed that the country needed something special. There was a need for an aircraft that could perform the roles of a transport, a bomber, and a patrol plane, a need for a heavy flying boat like the American Catalina. A team of engineers at the Beriev Design Bureau decided to develop such a vehicle on its own initiative, and while the Catalina was the main inspiration behind the project, the Soviet aircraft greatly differed from it. Starting with the very first prototypes, the plane featured a gull-wing design. The bend near the hull allowed the engines to be placed higher above the water surface. The aircraft also received a twin rudder for improved handling. Despite the small size of the engineering team, the work was going at a steady pace, but the project had low priority and continued because the military didn't mind, not because it was actually needed. The first prototype was built in 1945, soon followed by the first trials. In the late 1940s, the engineers enhanced the design by adding some elements to improve the plane's handling and reliability. Furthermore, it received new engines, the piston-powered ASH-73, like on the Tu-4 bomber. In 1949, the first pre-production variant made its maiden flight. It featured 5 23mm cannons and a radar system, as well as updated rudder fins and fuselage. After spending more than 5 years in development, the aircraft could boast major advantages. It was superior to the Catalina and other heavy flying boats in terms of controls, sailing performance, stability, and many other qualities. The machine was designated Be-6 and reached production in 1952. The flying boat performed long-range patrol duties with the Soviet Naval Air Force for almost 2 decades, until the early 1970s. It also served as a reconnaissance aircraft, a bomber, and a search and rescue plane. The Be-6 was among the last flying boats in the world to retire. The version that served the longest was the one that was upgraded abroad. Back in the late 1950s, the USSR sent China a few Be-6 planes along with their blueprints. After decades of use, they became worn out. Thus, Chinese engineers decided to modernize these planes with new engines. The upgraded aircraft was called the Be-6. It kept the overall shape of the original model, but received new elements to keep up with the modern developments. The Chinese engineers equipped the plane with turboprop engines, similar to those found on the transport N-12. The Be-6 also received new avionics and an upgraded radar, while some of the planes had their defensive cannons removed. There was even a plan to install landing gear, which was the original intent of the Beriev Bureau, but only a handful of units received it. The Be-6 remained the main flying boat of the PLANF all the way until the 1990s, when it was finally replaced by newer aircraft. During its last years, the Be-6 was one of the last flying boats still in active service. The rest of the world has replaced them with helicopters and carrier-based aircraft.